Well, hi everybody. Thank you. We hope you had a nice lunch, and thanks for joining us today in this Discovery Lab. So today we're going to be talking about how you can cultivate high-performing publisher partnerships in the CJ network. And before we get started, probably want to know, who are these two people talking to us? I'm Tucker Gitlin. I'm a senior business development consultant on CJ's pub dev team. Been here at about 4.5 years working out of our Chicago office. I'm an avid skier, snowboarder, scuba diver, and motorcycle rider, and I will let my colleague introduce herself.
Awesome, thanks Tucker. Hi everyone, I am Kate Lidster, and I'm a client partnerships manager on the client development side. I work remotely out of Austin, Texas, and I've been at CJ for 3 years. I'm also an avid outdoorsy person, and I love to run, hike, surf, and I'm a travel enthusiast.
Awesome, well thank you Kate. So what are you all going to hear from us today? So we're going to take you through some of those optimal account setup best practices that both pub dev and client dev recommends to do. We're also going to recommend some of the ways you can find new opportunities in the account manager's tools. And then Kate's going to take you through some of those best practices in those new partnerships and how to optimize those. And then we're also going to talk about the different network-wide optimization opportunities that myself and my colleagues in publisher development share with our client dev counterparts and how to interact with those. And then lastly, we want to make sure that you can walk out of here with some actionable items that you can implement today to again help you form those high-performing publisher partnerships. If we can, please leave questions till the end, just so we have enough time to make it through the whole deck. So with that, I will go ahead and move us into really those optimal account setup preferences. And being in the pub dev team, we have conversations with our publishers, and we really share these 4 key points. We want to make sure that publishers are creating a concise network description that really gives the most important details to advertisers about how they can work with that publisher, right? We don't want it to be geared towards the final consumer, more towards the partners that would be interested in working with those programs. Next, we always recommend that publishers are creating and uploading really helpful materials, whether that be one-sheeters, media kits, case studies, anything that the advertiser can interact with in that network description so they can get the most important information on how they're going to be featured with those publishers. We also recommend and want to make sure that publishers, as they're creating their different promotional properties, that they are adding specific tags and or any unique descriptions to those promo properties, whether they be content websites, newsletters, browser extensions, anything like that, and how those might differ from each other, because you, again, the advertiser, can read all about those differences in the Recruit Partners tool. And then lastly, we want to just make sure that publishers are designating a responsive contact so that as you are reaching out to them to learn more about either new partnerships or to optimize a partnership, that they have the most important and best contact to reach out to. So on this next slide, we're just going to kind of highlight and illustrate some of the key points we mentioned. So you can see here, this is from Hey Modern Mom. We have their description, kind of direct to the point, talking about their audience and just ways to interact with them. We can see here that Hey Modern Mom has added a media kit for advertisers to review, as well as you can see here in the bottom right-hand corner, some of those tags that can be added to the promotional properties, and those can be unique. There's no kind of templated way to do that. Just go crazy on how you think would be best way to describe that property. And then lastly, we can see here Melissa's email on her being the best person to reach out to. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Kate to walk us through more of the advertiser account setup best practices.
Awesome, thanks Tucker. So yeah, when setting up your account as an advertiser, it's important that it's properly configured so publishers can really find you. So the first point of that is designating the proper user profile for non-joined and joined publishers to reach out to. And this doesn't necessarily need to be the super user. And for most advertiser accounts, there's multiple users on the account. And so some are managing non-joined partners and others are managing joined. So really ensure that that person is toggled appropriately when setting that part up. The second being account description updates. This is the publisher's first chance of getting to know who you are as an advertiser. So really sell yourself here, give some high level overview of what you are before they even apply to your program. And finally, review your program's auto decline rules. So every publisher that applies to your program is set to be manually approved to join. However, when you're implementing auto decline rules, be cognizant that this can result in missed opportunities. And what I mean by this, if you're implementing an auto decline rule by, say, publisher vertical, and that vertical is loyalty, oftentimes publishers have multiple PIDs on their account that are outside of that PID on profile, and you're missing out on potential partners that are outside of that PID that you've implemented.
Awesome. Yeah, Kate, thank you for the details. And I also wanted to mention from a publisher perspective too, that I've definitely interacted with publishers in my portfolio that have maybe been auto-declined geographically. So maybe they are, as a company, not located in parts of Europe or North America, but they can operate in those markets so that they are being auto-declined from a program, just maybe if they're based in parts of Asia or South America or whatever it may be. So you could also be missing out on opportunities if those auto-decline rules do include geography as well.
It's a great call out. Thanks for that, Tucker. Yeah, so moving into this next slide, we have a visual representation of an optimal account setup. So I want to call out that logo should be your up-to-date logo. And again, with that contact, this is the non-joined publisher contact. So really be extra sure that this is who you want potential partners to be reaching out to so that messaging is not missed. Looking at that keyword area, this directly correlates to advertiser discoverability among publishers. So use this to your advantage, really create or input a breadth of words, whether it be indirectly or directly related to your brand. So for the example here, we have TurboTax, which is a pretty recognizable brand. However, you can see that there's words indirectly related to tax, like mortgage and loans. So publishers looking among those verticals will be able to find TurboTax because we're casting a wide net with those words there.
Awesome, yeah. And again, from a publisher perspective, the Recruit Partners tool on the publisher side of the account manager functions slightly differently. And again, so if the publishers are using the keyword search bar for a wide range of topics and terms, and you don't have those included in your description, then your program won't show up when the publisher searches for one of those more unique terms. So again, be broad, kind of use it as to your discretion, but more is more. So
exactly.
Yeah,
and I just really want to call out also with the account description we see at the bottom, that is ever changing, of course, with your advertiser goals. So be sure that you're consistently checking in on that and making sure that information is indeed accurate. In this next section, we'll take you through opportunities and tools you can use to your advantage when you're finding new publisher opportunities through CJAM. So just to give a high-level overview, we'll take you through the Recruit Partners tool, and then Tucker will take you through the Opportunities Marketplace, and then finally we'll take a look at the Account Manager inbox. So just to take a look at a high level of what this Recruit Partners tool is, it's essentially a tool for advertisers to discover new partnerships based on keyword search and dynamic filtering using attributes like publisher vertical and publisher location, just to name a few. And so looking at a step-by-step flow of how to utilize this tool to your advantage, we can see that I'd typically start with a keyword, and then I would layer on those attributes that I mentioned to kind of curate a list of potential publishers based on those inputs that I had inputted into the tool. This tool also gives you the option to drill deeper into publishers if you are curious about what they have to offer. Again, like Tucker mentioned earlier, who can I reach out to? Do they have any media kits on file? But specifically for me, I do like this aspect of drilling down into the properties. The tool initially, in the front view, you only have their main publisher property on in that view, but here you're able to drill down into their reach, what that property is, just to get a better idea if this publisher is a fit for your program. And if I do deem they're a fit, I'll go ahead and make them an offer. And in this view, you're able to kind of customize what that offer looks like for that publisher on the spot. So it does default to the default program terms, but again, you can select a different program term as you see fit. And again, you can add them to a publisher group. It is default to the network recruited publishers. And then finally, you can customize that message to the publisher, and then you'll click submit, and then the publisher has this application or pending offer to accept to join your program. Before we move on, I do want to call out there is an in-depth discovery lab tomorrow morning at 9:30 from Lou Ritchie if you want a little bit more detail on how to use this tool.
Awesome, yeah, thank you for that, Kate. And so yeah, this next area we're going to talk about is the Placements Marketplace. And this is just going to be a quick slide, but really what we're talking about here is publishers are on a consistent basis adding details about new media kits, seasonal, promotional, and visibility opportunities, anything that might be better aligned with upcoming shopping holidays. Obviously, we're heading into Q4, so These are important to collect and view the publisher opportunities for, one, your joined publishers, but also you have an opportunity to review non-joined publishers to see what they are also loading into the network, because it could be a good way to recruit a new publisher new publisher partner based off of just the optimization opportunities that they have. And another key call out as well is that, as Kate was just listing and showing us the Recruit Partners tool, if publishers have added any listings into the CJ Placements Marketplace, then those will also be easily accessible from that tool as well. So you can click directly over to them to view those placements in that marketplace. And then we'll quickly just go through this too. So for many of you, you probably have noticed that this in-app or in-network messaging inbox can be a little busy, but one of the things we really always recommend is to check this periodically, just because for programs that maybe don't have readily available contact information, so if the publisher really doesn't know who to reach out to, whether it be an email address, they're going to reach out to you in this in-app or in-network messaging tool. So we always recommend to periodically take a look through it, make sure you're not missing any communications about pending applications, declined applications, or just general outreach from your partners. Again, a lot of that can be fixed with having more the proper contact details in your account listing. But again, always making sure to check this tool, because the publishers will reach out, as well as there's some important information that CJ will send to this inbox too.
Great. So in this next slide, I'll take you through the next steps after the publisher officially joins your program. So I do want to call out, before we look at this staged process, recruitment and optimization is not linear. It's circular. You're always coming back to different stages at the process. But first things to call out is when it comes to the new publisher email option available in CJAM, making sure that you have that set up, because this is the first email the publisher receives after officially becoming a publisher. It's also a best practice to conduct site audits on publishers that are newly joined to your program. This really ensures that they're hosting accurate information and there really isn't any fallacies when it comes to that. As for early partnership optimization, as a best practice, I love to directly email the publisher, get on a call, and really just share what my goals are as an advertiser and understand what immediate opportunities they have for me. And then finally, tracking results is extremely crucial to new partnership optimization. This is really where you gauge the immediate impact of new partnership recruitment and activation to your program, and also helps you gauge the potential for growing with new publishers. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, really create a 30, 60, 90-day plan, because recruitment is such a robust effort. And so creating resources like recruitment trackers and things that really keep this effort on track are highly beneficial when it comes to recruitment and optimization. And so looking at that new publisher email I mentioned earlier, this is a templated email that is automatically sent to publishers right when they join your program. So this is a little bit more detailed information on maybe do's and don'ts of the program, immediate information and direction publishers should receive since they're active. I do want to call out that including your program's top performing links is a great way to streamline the activation process and really get things started. As I mentioned earlier, site audits are extremely crucial, and they really just account for accuracy across the board. So the first thing to look out for is the publisher is hosting an accurate logo and accurate brand messaging. Oftentimes you'll find that publishers are sourcing this information outside of the account manager, even though it's in the account manager, and this is what results in finding the inaccuracies thus conducted or found through a site audit. The second being compliance. So many advertiser programs have pretty extensive compliance, which can be easy to miss for new publishers. So conducting a site audit will inform you if you need to reach out to that publisher and give them additional guidance on what your expectations are. And finally, link functionality. This is a big one. So when conducting those audits, really click through every link and banner that you see on site to confirm that they're driving to the right landing page, that the offer that they're hosting lines up with that landing page. And also, you'd be surprised that some links that claim to be tracking links really aren't CJ tracking at all. So really, finding these errors off the bat does mitigate errors as early on in the process. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, recruitment is a 30, 60, 90-day effort. And so organize your efforts into something that makes sense for you. So you can see here, I have a lot of information on this recruitment tracker, but I have things that that work best for what I'm looking for. So I have publisher information, contact information, but I do want to call out including outreach dates, since that happens in multiple cadences, is extremely helpful for account team visibility and really just ensuring that there is alignment across all teams working on partners. And yeah, this is the source of truth when it comes to your efforts. It informs your next steps and really just creates efficiency with an effort that is this large and at this scale. Great, I'm going to pass it back to you, Tucker.
Awesome, thank you for that, all that, Kate. That was really great. So this next section, I'm going to talk to you all about the network-wide opportunities that my publisher development colleagues and I share with our client dev counterparts, and the ways that they make their way down to you in all the different service levels that we have. So just taking a quick step back. So again, I work on CJ Publisher Development. We as a department manage around 2,000 publishers globally, and we kind of try to work them through this progression. So I work on the onboarding team, so working with a lot of new to network publishers, as well as any new to the US market publisher opportunities. And then ultimately we try to get them going in the right direction, hand them off to the publisher growth consultancy team, which then manages them more directly for a longer period, ultimately with the idea of then moving these publishers up to our enterprise team to be a strategic partner. And when we are looking at the resources we as a department consistently collect and are sharing, it's a wide range of things. But ideally, it's those really promising new to network opportunities. It's also on a weekly basis, we share a opportunities newsletter that goes out to the client development teams so they can interact with and use in their recruitment efforts. And then also we are on a consistent basis updating the publisher media kits internally. So we have a few channels that we share those in, as well as linking them to each of the publishers' internal profiles so that they can be engaged with. We also, on a monthly basis, are doing a update of publisher Rolodexes. So we have them for just generalized Rolodexes, we have them for specific verticals, right? There's a lot of different resources that then the client development teams can go and reference for QBRs, other recruitment efforts, things like that. And then on a quarterly basis, our department also puts together these more in-depth presentations and sharing new opportunities that might need a little more exposure and discussion. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to add some color from the client development full program management perspective, we really utilize these call outs and messaging to our advantage. We proactively hop on these because we know that oftentimes these are partners that we can immediately scale with. So yeah, we definitely keep a lookout for those.
Awesome. Yeah, Kate, that's great. Thank you. So that's the publisher side of things. I wanted to also take a quick step back and just here on the screen show CJ's different advertiser service levels. So whether it be full program management, which is primarily what Kate works in, or whether it's self-service, there's a range of different ways that then those teams are interacting with the publisher development department. But wanted to call out here too, if you have any questions about your service level, please reach out to the email in the top right hand corner, that sales email. They'll be happy to talk with you about any adjustments that you might want to make to either being agency represented or also having some CJ client development representation and guidance too. So with all these resources that we're putting together, again, a lot of the client development teams use them in their own communications with their clients, but then also we have some of our representatives that are on a consistent basis curating those things and then sharing them across the network for everybody that is a registered user, whether you're FPM or self-service or whatever it may be. But these get shared on a weekly basis on Fridays from our advertiser solutions team. And again, it's a great way to learn more information on new to network publishers, any key featured publisher updates, new media kits for enterprise publishers, things like that. So definitely keep an eye out for these communications that come over from CJ on Fridays. If you have questions, if you aren't receiving these, here are some of the steps on the screen on how you can make adjustments to your user communication preferences so that you are getting those weekly partner opportunities newsletters that the advertiser solutions team sends over. So I know we threw a bunch of information at you today, so we wanted to have a few actionable items that you can take away and start to implement and really then try to better cultivate those high-performing publisher partnerships. And those points are: one, just review your account's information and make sure you've designated the right contact details for publishers to reach out to. Again, they're going to reach out in some way, but if you have the right alias inbox or the right representative from your company, it just helps to streamline that process and helps to limit any frustrations with not getting responses to inquiries. We also recommend talk to your top performing publishers. Make sure you have the most up-to-date media kits, up-to-date placement opportunities from them, check in the marketplace, anything like that. Because again, heading into Q4, busy time to be booking media. So you want to make sure you just have the most up-to-date resources from those top partners of yours.
Yeah, and 3, make quarterly, monthly, bi-monthly recruitment plans and make sure that your new recruitment and new partner resources are up to date so you are getting in touch with the right publishers for your program. And 4, get set up with new partner performance tracking sheets to, again, really gauge the impact of new partner recruitment to your program. So use CJ's suite of performance reporting and insights reporting, and again, really just quantify the value of these new relationships.
Awesome. And then lastly, we want to make sure that you have taken the time to review either your own personal or your key users' communication preferences so they're getting those weekly updates from CJ about new and exciting publisher opportunities for you to take advantage of. So with that, we have a few minutes for some questions. If anybody has any, we're happy to answer them. If not, we also will stick around after the presentation too. Yes? No? All good? All right. Well, thank you again for your time today, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the CJU. Enjoy the sunshine, and yeah, good luck and have a great time.